Okay. So that way, the people who can't make it to this meeting, we send that out.
Okay.
And one of my questions was, Chogyam Trungpa was a problematic teacher in some ways to some students. And I just wondered what your personal experience was with him and his teachings. Like, you're the same lineage. He came over here in the early 70s and you came in the late 80s. Did you ever cross paths anywhere? Um, do you have any insights to offer about him in particular?
I never met him, but he's reincarnated Lama in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition of the Kagyu lineage. Their first main school in Tibetan Buddhism, the first being the Nyingma, then Kagyu, Geluk, Sakya, basically four major schools of Tibetan Buddhism. And he belongs to the Kagyu school of Tibetan Buddhism. However, the Kagyu school and the Nyingma school are very close. They both focus on practice of meditation and generally because Buddhism is so large, uh, the teachings in Buddhism, so there is a vast, great number of study and vast, great number of practice to do. So the school of Gelugpa, which his son is Dalai Lama right now, he is in the Gelugpa school, but he's actually it's more complex because there's political system there. But actually, he is a Nyingma practitioner, Dalai Lama. He's a Dzogchen practitioner. Mm-hmm. He received Dzogchen teaching from my teacher, Soksel Rinpoche, Dalai Lama, and then other like Trulshi Rinpoche and Khyentse Rinpoche, Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche. So that's a whole different question to know who Dalai Lama is. We can talk about that later. So in the Nyingma and Kagyu tradition, practice is regarded very important. Scholarly, yes, it is also important, but more than scholarly, the meditation and practice is the lineage of practitioner, what is known. And without practice, just simply to theory, scholarly, it's like a dry knowledge without actually the essence of that juice. It's like an orange without juice. So it will be dry orange, not very interesting. Likewise, the realization, awakening happens from practice. So there are in India, there is 80 Mahasiddhas, and some of them outwardly, they are ironsmith, some are cobbler, some are different their livelihood appearance, but inside they were all Mahamudra practitioner. And then there is also some liars, pathetic liars. How do you call it?
Pathological.
Pathological liars. And so each one of them, according to their mindset, they met the teachers and directed them, and they become enlightened beings. There are books you can buy, read, 84 Mahasiddhas of India. So it's all the 84 Mahasiddhas is tradition of the lineage of the practitioner, because nobody knew they were practicing. And one of the reason, the secret esoteric practice or Vajrayana or tantric practice is kept so secret in ancient times, not even the spouse know who is practicing. That's how it is kept secret. That's what secret Vajrayana. So, for example, if I tell the story about this pathological liar, so there was this guy who was a pathological liar, and he came and met his teacher, and he told um, teacher, I'm a liar. I'm a pathological liar. Help me how I can realize the true nature of phenomena. And then the teacher uh, himself, enlightened teacher, so teacher said he wasn't enlightened. He was a pathological liar. So then the teacher said, while he was asking the teacher he's a pathological liar, he even lied to his teacher right on the spot because he's habituated as a pathological liar. So then the teacher said, don't worry, you meditate that entire phenomena is a lie. Everything has no, oh, there's nothing real. Uh, meditate that everything is a lie. And basically, of course, there have got to be a lot more if one goes through those texts I haven't seen. But the general story is he meditated everything is a lie. There's nothing really real. And that let go his grasping to everything and finally achieve enlightenment. So there's a simple kind of like one of the story, very about him. I'm sure there's a lot more to it. So likewise, there are many 84 Mahasiddhas. These are all happen in India. Some are like Aaron Smith. How to meditate while you're doing Aaron Smith. I think it's something you can see these days, like Japanese, how they focus, concentrate on one thing and 100%, like how they integrated Zen tradition in warriors, in things like that. Um, I saw a little bit in the Last Samurai movie how they are so focused one pointedly, and um, so it's just a small version, for example. So there were 84 Mahasiddhas. Then in Tibet there was the great yogi Milarepa. I'm sure you all heard about the great yogi Milarepa. He just got instruction from his teacher, and he spent his life in the mountains, in caves, eating nettle, and he became so green, and like when people saw him, he looked like a ghost, you know. As he just survived, he gave up looking for food or any other pleasures, just like on meditation. And his great level of his teaching you can read. If I think they are translated in English, the biography of Milarepa. Uh, Very profound and beautiful teaching by Milarepa. So there is that. And so the whole, basically, the Nyingma and Kagyu tradition emphasize on meditation practice. Uh, and then the other school uh, more focus on scholarly. And they also do meditation. They also practice, but not as much as Nyingma and Kagyu. So Trungpa Rinpoche is, you asking me, the question is Trungpa Rinpoche. I never met him, but I know he's from that tradition. And I think he's an extraordinary teacher. Uh, yes, there is some controversy about him, his drinking and things like that. But he came at a time when the whole country was like that. He was no exception. It was a time of hippies' time, make love, no war. And in order to help people, he has to be like that. If he came today, he wouldn't be doing that. At that time, that was how he was able to mingle and communicate with people. And I'm sure, some people always will disagree, and not everyone can agree with everything all the time. He was, in my mind, very extraordinary, and I think he was an enlightened being, not ordinary being. My only experience about him was when I went to Lake Powell in Utah. This is after he died. I never met him. And I was sleeping on a houseboat on the roof at night, open sky. And I dreamt about him that night. They say he was very regal, and I saw he was very regal. And I still, to this day, I remember there were like 40, 50 people there. And one was wearing all American people, red t-shirt and a little bald head, a little bit here. He has hair, but a little bit bald he was. So he stood up and he said, "Since Rinpoche, you are leaving," basically when I woke up, that's the sign he's dead. "Since Rinpoche, you are leaving, can we ask Shuji Rinpoche to teach?" And he said, "Yes, very good." And then he wants to give me some money. I said, "I don't need money." Then he gave me a check. Then I thought in my dream, well, if he wants to give me, better give me cash. That was my dream. Then when I woke up, that was very interesting. For 3 days and 3 nights, my body was in bliss. I've never had experienced that kind. For 3 days and 3 nights. I asked Rinpoche later, "Rinpoche, I dreamt like this. And what is that?" He says that you have a karmic connection with it. So that was my one experience. The second experience, why I'm getting Trungpa Rinpoche, who I've never met, who have never received teaching, never. The second was, um, I used to know those days, it's not called Shambhala Center, 1980s. It was called Dharmadhatu and Vajradhatu. So I know the San Francisco while I was there, their teachers are called ambassadors because Trungpa Rinpoche has a Navy, Armed Forces, and then Air Force, and they're all dressed up military. He has his own style, like time to time, different style. So anyway, I don't know about Air Force, but there was Army and this and that. They all Rinpoche himself dressed like a military general sometimes. He was very much into Japanese style also. So anyway, so then I know their students, they used to come to me and we used to get together from time to time. And one night I dreamt that he was upstairs alone, very sad, and his students were downstairs, very sad. They couldn't meet each other. And probably that's what happened. They never met each other. Of course, some met, but generally he didn't came to America. There is a reincarnation of Trungpa Rinpoche. He must be in his late 30s now, in Tibet, in Kham, Eastern Tibet. But he was never brought to America. I don't know why, because I'm not part of that community. But I have this dream, like why I'm having this, what's happening there, So I told them, and basically that's what kind of like happened, something like that. And so now when I look at his, he received Vajakilaya empowerment from his son, Dijum Rinpoche. He has tremendous devotion. He's a student of Karmapa, 16 Karmapa and Dijum Rinpoche. And the Karmapa and Dijum Rinpoche are one of the highest in the Tibetan Buddhism highest enlightened masters of Mahamudra and Dzogchen. So he's very close to them. And his practice, all Kagyu practitioners are basically, to some level, Nyingma practitioners, including Changu Rinpoche, who came here. When my teacher, Dijum Rinpoche, gave like a 1 month of 1 month of empowerment, there were a few thousand people in Nepal. Changu Rinpoche and Tenga Rinpoche, who were the two major abbots of Karma Kagyu lineage, but almost every day, maybe a few days they missed, but they came from to receive this empowerment from Dijum Rinpoche every day. We were like about 100 Rinpoches, Lamas. There were a few thousand people. Changu Rinpoche's great devotion to Dijum Rinpoche. So you see, Nyingma and Kagyu are very close. It's like a left eye and the right eye. You can't say one is, I need this and not that one. The tradition and the teaching and basically focus to the realization of awareness. That's how it truly is. So that's my story of True Rinpoche.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Really interesting.
Yeah, interesting. I still, that kind of bliss in my body for 3 days a night was quite something, I thought, Yeah, well, nothing to be attached of, but just that's my experience. Yeah. So, and then when you look at his books, I read some of his books. I didn't read all, but some extraordinary. I heard that he went to study in England, in Cambridge, and when he came back, he used to teach English to his students, American students.
Oh, that I can believe.
So,
We're not very good at it.
yeah, so his books are amazing. The way his language, able to express the Dharma teaching according to American minds, it was extraordinary. I think it's just, you all probably read his book, and you can also see how he tried to bring out the Dharma in that expression. And as I said, as part of his drinking and this and that, was a hippie time. Everyone was that into that. Right?
Right.
So
Well, I know people here. I want to move on a little because I know that people are dying to ask questions because we've had moments of confusion beyond the normal. So who would like to pose a question for Rinpoche?
I mean, I have,
Yes, Paul.
Yes.
and it's directly from the book, which I was studying,
This one?
This one.
Okay.
And I don't have the page number on this,
Okay.
but it's in this, karma is dependent generally on the relativity of this and that.
Mhm. That is interdependent.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
Interdependent.
Yeah,
Okay.
this and that in relation, that's interdependent.
Okay.
Yeah.
My existence and my projections. So the thing that I'm curious about with this entire book
Mhm.
is it seems it's based on a relative experience.
Mhm.
Is there karma in an absolute
No.
sense? There's no. It's
No.
all we're only talking within the context
Yes.
of relatives.
And how that is, during my teaching, I've been trying to explain how entire Buddhist teaching. First of all, let's look at one thing. Entire Buddhist teaching comes into interdependent and Four Noble Truth. So if you have a good understanding of Four Noble Truth, which I would recommend everyone to study by His Holiness Dalai Lama, you can look on YouTube, Four Noble Truth, translated by Geshe Jimba. He's the very good translator. So once you understand the Four Noble Truth, and then you understand interdependent, you will naturally understand interdependent to some extent But in interdependence specifically, is Nagarjuna's teaching on the middle path, Madhyamika view. Not falling into the extreme of nihilism and not falling into the extreme of eternalism. It doesn't mean it's like in middle path doesn't mean half eternalism and half nihilism. It doesn't mean that either. It's like actually not falling into any extreme is called middle. So, so when we talk about karma, karma comes into the picture of interdependence. And when we talk about interdependent, Buddha's teachings are generally summarized into two aspects. One is relative truth, and one is absolute truth. This is very important to understand. Relative truth and the absolute truth. Relative truth is all the karmic phenomena happening. And karmic phenomena happening not in something existential like some concrete, independent, existential state, but rather it's a seemingly phenomenon. It seems to be there, like our dream, but when you actually look into it, it's not there. And what is not there, the divide of inherent existence in the individual, that is devoid of anything independent. That is absolute truth. No, so looking from the uh, uh, conditional conditional phenomena, we can put absolute and relative. But then again, there is the understanding of absolute by our conceptual dualistic intellectual mind. It wouldn't help us to be free. That's where the practice of meditation comes. That understanding, the theory of absolute, is still within the sphere of dualistic mind. So how the dualistic sphere will dissolve is through meditation. That's why meditation becomes so important. Then it's called unconditioned absolute. Of course, absolute, there are not two kinds of absolute, but our understanding is like tasting a sugar. Uh, one is like saying sugar is sweet, and one is like the dumb person tasting a sugar, cannot explain but taste it. So awakening has to happen on on that unconditioned level. And that's where the whole meditation teaching comes. So basically, all karma falls into interdependent, and that you can say is relative truth because they only exist, seems to exist based on this and that. When that things don't come together, it's no longer there. So therefore, absolute is whatever the phenomena is, good or bad, its essence is devoid of independent inherent existence. So that is the reality, absolute reality. And that is, that when we first understand this, uh, no independent inherent existence, nothingness, our mind just fall into like there is nothing. That's nihilism again. That's not absolute. So that's where the danger comes. You just theorize and not have the actual experience. Then you can fall into again extreme. In fact, emptiness is there's no you can't fixate it into any ideas. Any idea fixated become duality. Emptiness itself is beyond duality. So it's just a mere raw experience rather than conceptualizing emptiness. So conceptualizing is important at the beginning. And so, like even in the Heart Sutra, it says form is emptiness. So in the Heart Sutra, first everything is emptiness. There's no emptiness of mouth, emptiness of nose, emptiness, empty, empty. Then because first we need to break our grasping, our the attachment we have so strongly to phenomena. We need to break that. We think our nose is so real. In fact, in the Heart Sutra, there's no such thing as nose. because nose is like an assembly of so many particles, and you just label this part a nose, but the real nose, you cannot find. There is no such thing as real nose, so it's talking like one facet. One appears to be like a nose. One, in essence, there is no such thing as nose, because, like I gave the example, uh, when you look from the other side of this building is right, and this is left. But when you look from the other side, this is right. Now, what happened to the left building? It was never been there to begin with, but it appears to be there. It's a seemingly phenomena. That's where the interdependent function on a seemingly phenomena, it never have that fundamental inherent independent quality. So therefore, the karma works in relationship to this and that, cause and condition, multiple factors, and then multiple factors relating to another multiple factor. So the essence, when you really look for the, like what we call God particle, many years ago, scientists had been looking for God, they never found God particle, because there wasn't that ultimate particle which we thought there has to be for the formation of this whole world. But when the scientists look into that, they could never find the ultimate particle, what is known as God particle, or now Higgs boson particle. And actually, the few years ago in Switzerland, they said they did discover Higgs boson particle. I think that was very interesting. First, I thought it's not possible. And Stephen Hawkins, he also mentioned it's not possible to find Higgs boson particle. But then he says, I went into a computer one day, what they really mean. And he says that um, it is masses of energy. Higgs boson, there is something, it's not nothingness. It's not nothingness. There's masses of energy. So masses mean interdependent, multiple factor, not one independent like a God particle, which they never. So that was good. Instead of saying it is nothing, then it's become nihilism. So they still didn't understand, they just thought it's a masses is there. Like they see some masses, but still there could be some level of, fundamental particle as an attachment. I think deep inside there can be, because they haven't meditated, they wouldn't know how that is. But for me, the interpretation was that mind has awareness. So since mind has an awareness, it's not nothingness. But if you say it is something there as a concrete particle, it is never there. And if you say it's not there, it is there. So it's like awareness, just which beam of light and energy, but not something as independent formation particle like that. That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Does that help?
Mhm.
Okay.
Rinpoche, would you like some water?
No, thank you.
Could I ask a follow-up? A
Yes.
follow-up to that.
Yes.
And you've said that you can't have the relative without the absolute.
Relative and absolute are one. They're not separate. You cannot even, it's not like putting a red thread and a white thread together. It's not like that. They are one. Like, that's why the interdependent nature, Nagarjuna's explained. He said, Tibetan word is Tenjing Deljung Topa Choga Yuba Mayino. Dijirtungi Matopa Choga Yuba Mayino. All phenomena, there's no phenomena beside interdependent. And there is no phenomena beside emptiness. So two words. There is no phenomena beside interdependent. All these phenomena is interdependent. And there is no emptiness There's no phenomena beside emptiness. And that, for example, Buddhist view of emptiness, where does that come from? The question is, it's not that you think everything is empty. That's not emptiness. That's absolutely nothing to do with this emptiness. There's like a projecting of emptiness. Buddhist view on emptiness come because things are interdependent, therefore it is emptiness. Emptiness can only function if things are interdependent. Emptiness has no business if things are independent. If things are not interdependent, emptiness has no role to play, has no meaning. It's just like a, big lie. So eternalism, Hinduism, Christianity, all of them say like eternalism. Eternalism say there's a fundamental, uh, you know, fundamental like a God particle, for example. There's creator, independent, unitary, is a unitary, independent, and permanent, unitary, independent. That's the nature of the God, or nature of Bhagwan, or nature of Allah. The theistic tradition explained that. So a unitary, independent God, creating, so unitary, if it's unitary, independent, then how can things are interdependent? How come things are interdependent? Because if it's unitary independent, then the role of karma has nothing to do, the role of interdependence has nothing to do. That unitary God or Bhagwan, whatever we would call it, there have been so many names for this since billions of years. Christianity is only 4,000 years old, according to Christians, believe some of them, but so many names have come. All theistic, shamanism also. So anyway, a unitary independent state has no role of interdependent. So therefore, a few years ago, I think in America, in a college, there was a dispute between evolutionary versus creationism, because they are contradictory. Evolutionary is interdependent. Creationism is direct creation of the God. And if it's direct creation of the God, then the God nature is independent. Then how can independent create interdependent? They are two contradictory nature. I think furthermore, independent independent the role, let's put it this way, the role of interdependent can only happen, role of interdependent can only happen if the nature is emptiness. If the nature is not emptiness, then interdependent role can never have anything to do with it. So like evolution, that was the big problem in somewhere in America college, the evolutionary versus and creationary versus. And if it's creation, then we can all sit down and the God can instantly turn you into a stone and instantly turn you into a cow and next into a human being. Because then you're not subjected to law of physics, law of karma. Law of physics falls into law of interdependence. Law of physics never fall into independent state. So that's one thing. So our things and events, our life situation function according to interdependent. And because it's interdependent, Nagarjuna says that it's the other side of the coin is devoid of inherent existence, which is emptiness, no independent state. So that's how empty role of emptiness it is interdependent because it's emptiness, because it's dependent, not one thing. Dependent thing is essence is emptiness. So they both complement each other. So form is emptiness, emptiness is form. So does many different parts. Form is emptiness is no other than form. Form is no other than emptiness. Likewise, sound, smell, taste, whole phenomena is emptiness because it's interdependent, no independent state. So that's how the emptiness, well, Buddhist view on middle path, emptiness and interdependent. It's based on reality, not based on blind faith or just an idea of it is.
I have a question about emptiness because I think we use emptiness, and in a way, at least in English, that's very confusing because emptiness means nothingness.
Yeah,
which it
the
doesn't mean.
language has limitation.
Yeah.
The
So
language, if I say like, hamburger, you don't taste hamburger. You get a picture of hamburger. So same thing, and that's why meditation, raw, direct experience in oneself is so important. Otherwise, the teacher can explain this and that, but unless you do it yourself, you're not going to experience that.
yes. Yeah, and I think every time we've met, we've talked about meditation and the importance of meditation that comes up again and again and again in these readings. And speaking of the skandhas, on page 18, he talks about the five skandhas in relation to karma. The first skandha, form, is the beginning of bewilderment and subsequent grasping. That we get confused as we emerge as human beings, and we want to solidify and grasp, and as soon as we start doing that, then we create karma, is as what I understand from what he's saying. But it's not a solid creation. It's just a momentary creation. So you have moments of when you're grasping and solidifying, but in between those moments there are moments of emptiness.
I think, again, here is interdependent. If we say solid, there has to be something inherent, you see.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not inherent, so everything is temporal. All afflictions are temporal. If the afflictions are independent, and then there is no way to purify or change or anything. Because affliction, root cause of of suffering and root cause of somebody being born, let's say, in a hell realm, is anger. Anger is the main affliction to be born in a hell realm, for example, in the Buddhist teaching. And then, but that anger is temporal. Anger is adventitious emotion, interdependent, and the nature of interdependence devoid of independent states. So there's no such thing as real anger or eternal anger. If there is no eternal anger, if the cause is no eternal, how can the result will be eternal? So Buddhist relative truth is yes, just like you can go through a hard time, but it's not forever. In fact, moment the day you're born in hell, already you're purifying. You're paying back your dues. And the dues get over and you get out at some point. Or human karma, or animal karma, or any level of karma, even to be, look at president, the kings and predecessors, they don't last forever. Looks like the president of the United States that he could rule. Of course, he ruled America, but he could rule the rest of the world. But after 4 years, just the next day, his power is gone. You see, nothing independent.
And I guess I was trying to,
So when you use the word
Encapsulate.
solid, Linda, the
Well,
solid,
that's what my, that's what
Yes.
my ego does. That's
yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
I
You see,
solidify.
we're used to that.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're used to that, like God particle,
yeah.
something eternal, something. No, that's all temporal.
Well, he talks about the potter's wheel and creating the pot. And as soon as you solidify that and you hang on to that, you created your own coffin,
Yes.
is what he says.
Yes.
Which I think
Yes,
is so
but
interesting.
even the coffin is temporal coffin.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
There's no eternal coffin.
So what is it? Is it an energy that goes from this life to the next to the next? Is that what the karma is?
Yeah,
The-
karma, as Buddha said, um, the karma that beings create, our deeds. Karma means deeds. Is a Sanskrit word. Karma. Karma is the word karma. Karma is a Sanskrit word. In Indian, they also call karma, but that comes from Sanskrit. Means deed. That karma that beings create will not ripen, whether it's good karma or bad karma, will not ripen on the earth, will not ripen in the water, will not ripen in the mountains, will not ripen in the trees or whatever. It will only ripen that on the body that your consciousness behold. Like, for example, our consciousness right now, you're holding your body, your consciousness is holding your body. So pain and joy, everything you experience, with this body. But your karma will not ripen on that wall, or trees, or mountains, or water. It will ripen on this body. Decay, sickness, or joy, or happiness. Temporal, they're all temporal. Will ripen on this body which your consciousness behold, right? Am I putting the right translation? Consciousness behold. Yeah. If it's dead body, when we are dead, our consciousness is out of this body, we will not feel pain or joy or nothing. It is a dead body. While the consciousness is still within this body, then we feel the joy and pain and all those things, and decay. Those things.
Do animals feel and do animals create karma?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, if you love an animal, they also love you back. For them to love you back is interdependent.
Well, I was thinking their actions are kind of autopilot. They don't have intention like we do. So I thought maybe
No,
Yeah.
not necessarily. They may not have the full capacity like human being. Not that they don't have the potential. They have the same potential. Even human being, if you look, one of the American famous psychologists, and we can look within ourselves, we human beings only use 10% of our intelligence. 90% lives dormant. So animal probably use 1% or 2%. Some animals are smarter. Recently, I read the news in Bali, Indonesia. Monkeys are scamming people. Really? So how do they do? They steal people a sunglass and take it, and then people have to give them food. And now they found out if they steal cell phones, then they demand more food. They learn that. They learn the value of the cell phones. Now think about that.
it's to create karma.
Yeah, they're getting smarter now.
Which I never really understood how karma, how it what happens to our karma when we die? How is it kind of carried over into the next incarnation?
So whatever we have karma from many past life, not just with this one, but many, many lifetimes. Since mind never dies, if you look at a mind, even right now, from the top to the bottom, you cannot see your mind as a form, as a color, as a shape. You cannot see. You can go through MRI, scan, whatever. No one can see the mind. Where is the mind? In the blood, in the heart, in the brain? No way. But at the same time, it's there. You're alive, consciousness. So when a person dies, whatever the karma is created by your mind, which the mind has awareness. Now, on the Vajrayana level, that every being has an enlightened nature, clear light with the 5 wisdom quality. And when we miss seeing our own projection as one own at the fundamental level, then one get trapped in the fatal attraction of not knowing one's, seeing yourself as different, like you see yourself in a dream separation. You split personality. It's a split personality. Moment the split personality takes over, then samsara get creation. That's how the karma. But in fact, the essence is 5 wisdom nature. So therefore, not knowing the 5 wisdom nature, then we create the karma through ignorance. And then we, create good karma, bad karma, whatever, but they're all temporal. And then as far as when we die, we carry whatever our karma with us, with this consciousness. Wherever our consciousness goes, the karma will follow like a shadow of a body, wherever we go. And then this present life memory, present life situation, your home, your property, all these things, family, will gradually disintegrate, gradually go away. And after 21 days, it's completely gone. Then you no longer have any kind of memory, unless you're born as a spirit. Then as long as you remain as a ghost or spirit, then you will wander around there, and a lot of suffering, of course. But in that way, they can know who you are. But most people, once they change after 21 days, then they'll be born to a different place. It varies to people, not necessarily 21 days for everyone. To some, could be within 1 week, 2 weeks, something like that. But generally 21 days, then you go to the next world, and then your memory, shifted like a gear from this life to the next. But if someone is very, very negative, like who, something like who have killed hundreds of thousands of people and bring so much suffering to the world, very, very negative karma. They don't have time to wait. They don't have bardo. Moment you close your eyes, instantly you go to lower realm. And I'll tell you a very interesting story. My mother, in Ladakh, we have like a Muslim society and Buddhist society. We like live together. And my mother's neighbor is a Muslim lady, my parents' neighbor, a Muslim lady, and she's a friend of her. And because Ladakh is lay city, mostly Buddhist, and we have maybe 25-30% Muslim and 70%. And Muslim keep their own role. They do their own, practice religion and Buddhists follow their own. But as a social life, when they talk, she said, oh, because in Islam, they believe once you do halal, you offer to the Allah, there's no sin, something, like a. But then she told my mother, there must be a sin because many of them into trade of butchering, they do butcher. Um, she said when some of the butchers, when they're dying, they begin to make sound of lamb and sheeps because mostly they kill sheeps and goats in Ladakh. They don't kill cows. It's mostly 90% is sheeps and goats. So they make the sound of, they're already seeing themselves embodying in that dream. That's surprising. And then also the Muslim community in Ladakh, whenever His Dalai Lama comes, they invite him to the mosque. So it's a good relationship. And my neighbor in Leh, he's a butcher. Yeah, he's a butcher. He lived right across my house. So people call him whether I'm there or not, usually. So when His Holiness Dalai Lama was there, the Muslim community came. His Holiness gave a speech, and then His Holiness called him friend. He said, "Drop friend, you're very sinful." He said he got shiver in his. He told Lama Chime. You remember Lama Chime? He told Lama Chime. Lama Chime told me the story. He said he got shiver. He said, "What to do? That's the only business that I know how to make a living out of killing, butchering." And he said, "Friend, you are very heavy karma, very negative." So, and the Lama can see through that. And then also the other lady telling that they say that those butchers, someone who killed a lot, the moment they're dying, they're already that karma is coming and they're seeing themselves being going into those animal dream, either sheep or goats or chicken or whatever. Like that. Yeah, karma is like that. And now again, someone who does tremendous merit, like something great work to benefit humanity, they also don't go through bardo. Instantly they get born in a very high rebirth, whether it's Deva's realms or wherever, instantly they go. So bardo is more for like middle section, who haven't done a lot of bad and who haven't done a lot of good.
I keep studying.
Are there any questions online? We don't want to miss you guys. It looks like Janet is talking. No? Okay. Okay, just don't want to miss anybody.
Thank you, Linda. My kitty is purring too much. She certainly appears when you're talking about the animal realm. There she is. Um, I tend to think of bringing awareness into action as I try to go through my day. And yet I read somewhere recently, maybe it was in this book, that awareness is of course it's not static, it's not fixed, even if you arise from your nundro or whatever practice you're doing and you feel that you're in awareness. And Rinpoche, if you have anything to say about, sometimes I feel like it's helpful to look at the blue sky or the clear sky or whatever sky, could be cloudy or whatever, and that helps me, or just breathing, letting go of held breath or things of that sort. that's
Yeah. I think one thing I forgot to mention, and again, it relates with your question also. Um, when a person is dying, we should make a very peaceful environment for them, not disturbing, family and descendants and relatives, kids fighting for money, property, and that disturb the dying person. That's not good. Especially, it is said the consciousness of the dying person is like a boat's oar. Boat oar you do one time, it will just, swing around. Or you go this way, it will swing the other way or this way. It should be then with anger, suddenly when a person is dying, a lot of anger rises. That anger will take one straight down to lower ear. So therefore, it's very important to create a peaceful environment, or maybe hospice, a good hospice, wherever who knows how to handle, or within the family, everyone knows to respect them, not fighting for money and property and material. Perhaps it's good, I think, to give before, write everything where you want to give to, this cause, good cause, and to the children, whatever, so that you have nothing to hold on to. I think that is, very important, because if that can create stir up, then that can push you off to your next life, positive situation. Or you need to have some very powerful uh, prayers by, in Tibet. When a person dies, they do like 49 days prayer. First 3 weeks is the most important prayer. In the first 3 weeks, if you create a lot of merit and you dedicate that to that person, then that person can get higher rebirth, good cause and effect. After 3 weeks, then even if you do prayer, then it's really hard. One has to go through that karmic experience. If it's so hell realm, one has to go to hell realm one time. Then of course you can do prayer hell. When I was in Tibet many years ago, I was in this monastery. There are 8,000 nuns, 8,000 nuns, and 2,000 monks. Yashinkar, and it's like a whole town. So in that, there are two nuns who are very, I think, important student of my teacher in Tibet. And they were called Delo, one who's dead and came back. And so, and she has very clear voice. So then Chris was with me, and we went, and Chris. So anyway, so we went there, and I saw somebody there, that man, that Tibetan man, he asked a question about his father. There's a Tibetan man who used to do a lot of hunting. She doesn't know anything. So he asked, where is my father going to be born? She says, straight, Elri. Straight. And then I asked my late grandfather who passed away, I said, where is my late grandfather born? And she said, he's born into a big fish, Tibetan called fish for everything, mammals or whatever, but big fish in the South China Sea, she said. And I understood that. My grandfather, in ancient times, every family do their own killing for food, like hunting here, people do, in Colorado, people do hunting and like that because there were no butchers in ancient times. Each family had to do their own. I've seen my grandfather doing that, and I used to stop him. So whenever I'm there, he hides, and from time to time he does that. So anyway, I'm not surprised. So then I ask the Rinpoche, who was a great Dzogchen, who was the teacher of all of them. And then he has a foreknowledge, Rinpoche was very famous for his foreknowledge. I said, then I asked him afterwards what to do to, overcome, to purify his negative karma, and he can be born into a better rebirth. And then Rinpoche gave me all the lists, like, doing many good things and dedicating for him, and then including money, mantra, and various practice. I did all those things. Rinpoche has never been to Ladakh. He's for his life in Tibet, in eastern Tibet, and he has no time to listen to everyone's story, So then after a few years, when I went back, he said, I asked him, where is my grandfather now? He said, your grandfather is born in your village. There's a stream falling, and there's a big river coming. On the edge, there's a family. He's born as a boy in that family. So yes, we have a stream going. There's the Indus River, huge Indus River, right? And there are a few families. I told my mother, she got a goosebump when she was crying, got very emotional. But anyway, so one of the stories like that.
Did
And
it-
then
anybody ever
somebody,
go there?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Then there was another family who asked, where is my mother born? And he said, your mother is born into a snake. Go behind your house, there's a rock. You live there, you will see. And the family went back and lived there. There was a snake there. And then there was one person who asked where my father is born. And would you say your father is born into a dog in Kathok in eastern Tibet. And you go and call your father's name, and you will probably see a sign. And he went, there were a lot of stray dogs, there are so many dogs. So he called his father's names. Suddenly, one dog came with tears coming, like that. So all this, our karma, the body simply changed, but why important to do good karma and avoid negative karma? I think become very, very important. And we can purify negative karma through like prayer wheels, the mantra, and doing good, like helping, and any positive action, we can purify negative karma. There's a saying, negative karma has no good quality except one, and then it can be purified. There's no eternal negative karma in Buddhism. It may be a long time, but it's still not eternal. It could be a million years you may have to suffer, but there will be end to a million years. So then the other thing, what Janet was asking the question, as I said, we need to create a very safe environment. And not only when we're dying, even day to day, while meditation creates this safe environment in our life. It brings a peace, even things which seems to bother you so much. If you're doing meditation, your mind is calm and clear, and positive energy arises. So that's very important why we need to do meditation. Otherwise, mind will be disturbed by all the things happening. Furthermore, one more like a pit instruction, my teacher, Dijum Rinpoche, would say, in every time, any situation, don't panic. Relax your mind. And he even used to say, Don't eat quick. Don't go quick. Take it easy. Take your time. Make everything relax. In that way, I think that brings some level of sanity, big level of sanity.
One of the things he said in here that kind of relates to that is speed is a form of aggression.
Yeah, it is.
And I'd never thought of that before.
Yes. Yes, speed is form of aggression to ordinary being, but maybe not every speed is a form of aggression. If it's enlightened energy, it can also be very speed, and it can be slow. Like basically, five passions are in essence five wisdom. Even realize the wisdom when we do the Mahayoga practice into deity practice. Since deity practice, there are five Buddha families. Five Buddha family, the center one usually is like a blue. Blue color is like the space, which is utterly open. There's a center. Then there's white, yellow, red, and green. When you do deity practice, you bring the enlightened awareness. And even you're not enlightened, you need to get the empowerment. And without empowerment, you cannot do Vajrayana practice. What that empowerment does is kind of like open the door, the key to your awareness. And then you need the confidence or devotion. Devotion is the confidence of you are primordially enlightened thing. And then there's a whole practice, mandala creation. Then on the east is white, on the west is red, on the south is yellow, the north is green. Five wisdom energy. So like white, for example, when we like to do something peaceful, we dress white and we bring white thing and we take shower, like a peaceful environment. Yellow, increasing quality. Red, magnetizing quality. Green, cutting through quality. So the enlightened nature, you bring that awareness to enlightened nature, performing those. Even now, you're still a sentient being, but performing an enlightened activity with this Samaya principle, there's quite a complex understanding. But deeper level, seeing the awareness. If you can see awareness, then all are contained in that. So then you send lights of healing energy through white family, Vajra family. Then Radna family, like knowledge, increasing wealth, power, sent through the yellow deity, the yellow color, which is the increasing quality you have. Then the red is like magnetizing. You see Women in Red movie? Yeah, it is red sport cars. It kind of like attract is the magnetizing quality. But the real magnetizing is our Lokeshwar. Meaning real magnetizing is compassion. If you reach the highest level of compassion, naturally everyone is drawn to that. We have that inherent quality. Right now we are trying to magnetize through ego. That doesn't work. So therefore, the essence is why wisdom and compassion is the source. And then the healing will work, increasing will work, magnetizing will work. Then the radful, what radful means is not compromising with ego, anything happen. It cuts through the ego, cuts through duality, cuts through all negative energy and negative situation. The presence brings like total calmness. But appearance is speed. The nature of radful is speed. Nature of peaceful is quiet. Nature of increasing is a little bit more increasing. Magnetizing a little bit more power. And the radful is very cutting through. We have that quality inside. That's what we're doing. In fact, every day we do. We all do that. But we may not be able to do the full level of enlightened level. So for that, one is empowerment, one is the practice, one is to go to retreat. Then you see a change in your life on a very profound level. Yeah. So slow down and relax. Don't kind of get panic in every situation. Take it slow and gentle, and that will help a lot. Yeah.
Mm.
And it's just like today's, for example, when you watch a movie of 1960s, 70s, so much nicer. It's relaxed. And you see today's movie, it's just like everything is like making your mind disturbed. It's just like too much.
They have
Mm.
several storylines going on at
Yeah.
once, and they go to this scene of this
Yes.
couple, and then this of these kids, and this over here, and then you're back here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And music also. Today's music makes people a lot of aggression.
Yeah.
Music of 70s and 50s, 60s, 70s is very nice. So it's the decadent time coming means more speed. The decadent means speed is the main function in that.
Is there time for another question, or I'm not sure?
Oh, it is now 8:07, yes.
Oh, okay. So, we're fortunate to be born in this precious
Yes.
universe. So for animals
Yes.
and for them to, progress
Yes.
with karma and
Yeah.
things, how does that work?
So if it's your pet, for example, if you have a pet, any Dharma practitioner having a pet, they will really depends on the Dharma practitioner. If he or she is kind and compassionate, that pet will really be helped, through loving kindness. So let's say someone is doing hunting and you take the dog to the hunting party, not very good then. Yeah, they're also to be, some are very fortunate to have kind, compassionate owners, and some are, different, just like this. Yeah. One thing I do whenever I cross across animal, I recite mantra next to them, because reciting mantra, when they hear that mantra, it will purify with my prayer, their negative karma. So they made a seed. I try to put a seed of enlightenment into them. By Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mamaja Guru Padma Siddhi Hum, Om Bandar Sadhu Hum. If they can hear that sound, and it will, benefit them.
So today on the way over, I saw someone with a very large pit bull, and they weren't being cruel to the pit bull, but they were not being nice. They were really yanking on it, and the dog, was
Yeah.
struggling. And what I thought to do was, I questioned whether this was something I could do, was to dedicate the merit of the pit bull.
Dedicate their merit.
The pit bull's merit, or the pit bull putting up with that. Can you dedicate the merit for the pit bull?
No, because Pitbull is not putting, he got no choice.
Yeah.
He must be angry deep inside, So it is very rare for animal to have that kind of information. But instead, you can hold it in your prayer, and when you make dedication, you can include that. Then that will benefit them. But at that time, the people is not thinking, oh, poor neurotic people. I'm going to eat one, I want to eat them. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I just have, clarification.
Yeah.
So in my Buddhist studies, I've always, well, obviously, working with emptiness, but for me, it seemed like emptiness, the term, um, it makes more sense to me if I say appearance emptiness. Appearance, appearance emptiness. I mean, to bring those two together. Is there something you can say about using the term appearance emptiness versus just emptiness?
If you understand the meaning, then you don't have to get lost with the words. Meaning, realization of the meaning is important. So if that helps you to see appearance emptiness, fine. If not, then form is emptiness. Emptiness is also form. Emptiness is no other than form. Form is no other than emptiness. You can do as it gets deeper to that awakening quality. That's more important. But you can start with just appearance emptiness, at the moment. And then you can get deeper and deeper, more open. Something which is blocking you or resisting you. If I say some other words, then my emptiness is not coming. They're still like you are grasping. It's a sign you are holding on to it. So you need to relax and don't make a big deal. You just do it without making a big deal, then it will open up. If you make emptiness very special, then it will create layers of thing and it will block your mind. So, for example, on the very high level of meditation teaching, the awakened mind, enlightened mind is not even sometimes mentioned as ordinary mind. So when you say ordinary mind, your mind kind of relax. Okay, you just focus, but no big deal. When you say enlightened mind, something, So there you have to kind of like, the point is to free yourself, not to make into some kind of, cocoon.
That was something that was in the book. I have it highlighted and I meant to ask about it. That really jumped out at me. And the first time I read it, I didn't notice. Like I'm going back and reading again because you notice more things the second time. It says it's talking about that totality. And once you start looking at it, you start admiring the totality, and that admiration leads to bewilderment.
Say it again.
You admire the totality,
Mhm.
and that admiration leads to you being bewildered.
Bewildered.
Yeah.
Bewildered.
In English, yeah.
So, can you explain, Linda, what is that?
Well, that bewilderment is
So
something,
totality, first of all, is emptiness.
yeah, it's the
right?
ground.
The ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bewilderment he talks about, I think he's talking about how you go back to the beginning state where you're bewildered. And in that state of bewilderment, you start grasping again.
That's the beginning of ignorance.
Yes.
So, can you read the whole thing?
So you want me to read the whole passage? But that sentence,
Yeah, that's
it says, as long as you try to hang on or hold on to something, that is automatically a statement or an expression of separation. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're actually separate from the origin, but you misinterpret and you begin to admire the totality, and that admiration leads to bewilderment.
Yeah.
I read that, I was like, what? Wow.
Yeah, because you can never be disconnected from your nature. No matter how confused you are, the essence remains the same, always the essence.
But the very thing you're being drawn to is creating ignorance ultimately. It's
You
not,
know, No, you can't say it's creating ignorance because you're trying to get out of ignorance, but that doesn't mean that you are out of the ignorance yet.
Mm.
You see, yet. But you are making an effort. But making effort itself is not the enlightened mind. Buddhas don't make effort because they're already in that nature itself. So those who haven't reached that level, they're trying to get into that. While the process of get into it is you are separating yourself from that state in some way. It is sadly so. It is so therefore, when you do meditation, uh, no matter what, good or bad or any thought arises, you just equally just let it be, and then it will dissolve by itself. But if you try to make too much specialized thing, like I was talking, ordinary, if you say ordinary mind, you don't think of like a big deal. But if you say, oh, this is extraordinary mind, I have to get into it, then you separate yourself. So there is that sense, definitely there is that sense. So basically, in other words, just do it without a big deal, making a big deal. Yes, it's kind of sad. That's a very important point, actually. You're doing it, but in fact you're separating from your nature because your nature is awakened. So there's nothing to add to that. It says nothing is added, nothing is decreased, nothing is increased in that nature. That nature, Buddha nature, nothing is increased. Your meditating is not going to make it nicer. You're not meditating is not going to make it worse. The essence remains the same all the time. Therefore, you can trust on that essence. If it's like you have to build up through emotion, that's conditioned thoughts. Conditioned thoughts are impermanent. It will fall apart finally. You can only maintain for a certain level of time, then it will go away. And the unconditioned nature is in every aspect of thoughts and emotion, there's an unconditioned nature. That's the nature. We are calling NATURE, nature of the mind. Nature of the mind, even dogs or human, whatever, even someone who is not enlightened, the essence always is essence. It never changes. So what seems to be going through is our different karmic phenomena experience. But even within karmic phenomena experience, the essence is always essence. The essence, if it change, then you cannot trust the nature. The nature is same. The nature of the good thoughts and bad thoughts is exactly both are emptiness. But most people don't see that emptiness. They see like being trapped and always trying to get out and try to make something. So we're separating by our nature. That's very well put in the English language. Can you read that again, please?
As long as you try to hang on or hold on to something, that is automatically a statement or an expression of separation.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean that you're actually separate from the origin, but you misinterpret and you begin to admire the totality, and that admiration leads to bewilderment.
Yeah, it's not necessarily yours. It says not necessarily that you're separated, but you admire that experience. So therefore, say, do meditation without credit. That's what it meant, because instantly ego will come and take its seat.
It's an emotion.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're clinging to
You
it.
don't have to, do it, but that's how we used to our ego. We just couldn't help. We couldn't help it. It's like a good cake. You gotta eat. And then later your stomach doesn't digest, or diabetic problem and all those things. Yeah, so that's a very well put. But that's on a deeper level, it is like that. Deeper level. And see how Trungpa Rinpoche, he went to Cambridge. That's the benefit. I didn't went to Cambridge. I learned from hippies.
I really appreciate that because I think he does that again and again. It's like these koans that you're not separate, but you separate yourself. I mean,
By doing,
contradiction.
by even admiring a certain experience of openness, you will experience certain level. And that moment you admire it, then you get separated.
When you get the glimpses in
Mm.
meditation, it's
Mm.
really hard not to go, oh, I think that was it.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Okay.
It's a good thing. But you have to slowly, when you keep doing it, even that will dissolve also at some point. Otherwise, it will become ego again or something self. Ignorance, that's how it misconstrues intelligence. That's how the mind plays the trick.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good one. You should put that note carefully. I think that's a very well, explained, but it's also very deep level, actually. That is very deep level of meditation. And thing is talking about, you have admiration. Of course, we will admire when we have a profound experience. But then we should not take credit because there's nothing to take credit. The point is, it has to be, let it be, and then it will get into clear, open sky. Moment you try to cling to it, it will obscure the nature again there. Simplicity, but very difficult. A lot of meditation is required. It's very simple, but very difficult.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It is now 8:22. Is there one last question or comment?
I think please do the book study, and book study really brings questions, and each one can bring their own, experience and ideas, and that helps everyone to, it's a very productive way of studying. And thank you, Linda, for leading it. You're doing it great.
My pleasure.
And,
Thank you.
really, yeah.
It's a really a group effort, and
Yes.
it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dharma, there's a knowledge. Intelligence come from study. Intelligence come from meditation. And those two intelligence. So before meditation intelligence, we gain intelligence realization through meditation. We need to have a proper setting of the mind, through discussion and through study. So it's very beneficial. Yeah. And then when you do meditation, there's another level how you get into it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you all. Really very happy.
We close with the world peace prayer.
Okay. In the world in
general,
general, in this nation, may not the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly arise. In the world in general, and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly arise. In the world in general, and in this nation, may not even the names, disease, famine, war, and suffering be heard. May virtuous qualities and merit and prosperity greatly increase, and may continuous good fortune and sublime well-being perfectly arise. By this merit may all beings gain omniscience, and thus defeat neurosis in the directions which are the enemies. From the turbulent waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the illusions of existence, may all beings be liberated. And please include the prayer on Friday. Putin and Trump are meeting, so let's make a prayer that really there's an end to this war. Ukraine and Russia war and other wars, which brings so much suffering to so many beings. Please include that in their prayer. Thank you. So very good. I'm very happy to be joining all of you. Thank you. And I will join again later, maybe after a month or so. I will be back.
Anytime, we would love to have you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Shay, I think you walk, would you like a ride?
Hmm?
Would you like a ride home?
I would like to walk.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I want.
Yeah, it's a nice walk,
Beautiful out
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
You have a Shay.
This is one of my great philosophy teacher. This is Rinpoche. He passed away in Nepal. Rinpoche taught in Tokyo, university for 10 years or 15 years. So he's a Newman now.
He has a very nice face.
Yeah. He passed away many years ago. So he was one of my philosophy teachers.
Meeting next Monday, then.
Yes, we are, as we're behind. So, and I'll send that out, but we are gonna meet on the 18th and we'll talk about chapter 5 next week. And then another on the 23rd, and then we skip a few weeks. So if you guys got all of that. So we'll meet next Monday, the 18th, discussing chapter 5, and then chapter 6 week after that. And then we have several weeks off because of the Labor Day holiday. I think that it works out that
And
way.
how many, when's the end
Which is what I
date
found.
of this, I mean, the schedule, I mean, I know we're. kind of-
It's
maybe it's-
sometime in December.
Oh, December.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, because we're doing one chapter now
Okay,
instead of
great.
2 chapters, because there's so much.
Yeah, right, no, exactly.
Yeah, so,
Okay,
okay,
very good.
thanks, everybody. Good night. Let's see.
So.
Good night. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Take care.